So this is the 80 plus. This is our typical public access AED. So
So hang on the wall like that guy
see right there in a cabinet.
We have some in the State House.
Little 3-station U-shaped flow, and we have a defibrillator ready to test. So we actually
How do you test it?
We do
Just on voltage? And
we do 300 shots. So we actually have
300?
an automated testing system that just keeps continually firing.
nice to see you. What's your name?
Lucille.
Lucille. Where do you live?
Dragon.
A lot of Dragon people, huh?
Yes.
Wow, excellent. Hi, everybody. Hi, I'm Scott. Nice to see you.
No, we are. My vote.
Thank you. It means a lot. I appreciate it. Thank you for letting us interrupt. The boss is here, so you better get back to work. Oh, you don't care? Yeah, okay. They don't care. I know who runs this place. I've had a wonderful time during this election, especially traveling around the state and learning more about the businesses in Massachusetts and how the proposals in Washington are going to directly affect corporations in Massachusetts, because really going down there I will be somebody who's going to be representing our interests versus other states' interests. And this particular company has over 300 employees, and the healthcare proposal, which has a mechanism in both versions, would basically cost them between $5 and $10 million extra dollars in terms of the medical device tax that's in both versions. That's the amount of profit that they actually realized last year. So you're taking a corporation that's profitable and potentially by a change in Washington almost overnight, taking away that profit. So what happens? Do they lay people off? Do they increase their pricing? How does it work? How does it affect the corporation? I certainly would defer to the CFO and to the President to answer those very specific questions. You take those issues, couple them with, as you know, the national energy tax proposal, and this, as you saw, all of you, it's a high-intensive energy facility. Would really be dramatically different and hurt them in many, many ways. So that's one of the reasons that I'm not in favor of the health care proposal as it's being proposed, because of the not only the lack of transparency in the backroom deals, but the fact that it's going to hurt Massachusetts businesses at a time when we can't afford it. So I want to thank you very much. It was very thoughtful of you for allowing me to come in, and it was great to meet your employees. I hope I can meet more of them. And to note that you're here, and you have, what, 30% of the industry in terms of the actual device?
Yeah, roughly.
And that's amazing. And I remember in the legislature, Representative Peisch and I actually passed a bill that required the defibrillators on MBTA trains because of the passing of a man from Wellesley. So with that, I'll take your questions. Great, we're all done.
Really tight. The polls are looking really tight. Do you think you can win this?
Yeah, I think it's really up to the people to determine who wins it. The polls are up. I'm up in some, I'm down in others. It's not over till January 19th at 8:01, so I'm excited.
Scott, is this about voters learning more about you and gravitating toward you, or is this about voters getting to know Martha Coakley better and leaving her camp and coming for you?
I've been the same person. I've been since probably I was 18 years old. I've had a long history of service to the state, both in military and municipal and legislative service. I've been saying the same thing for quite a few years. Fortunately, you and others have been covering me, and it's been able to show the clear differences between Martha and me. For example, the statement that there are no Taliban or Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan is outrageous, especially during the debate. 3 of our soldiers were killed by, obviously, the Al-Qaeda there. And you take that and couple it with how we're treating terrorists, with giving them lawyers, allowing them to take the fifth at our expense. They should be treated as enemy combatants. So there are clear distinctions, and people, I think, are siding with me more on those very important issues of domestic and foreign policy, and on the economy when it comes to the high taxation and the proposals that are being pushed in Washington that are not good for our state.
What do you make of the national attention that's been coming your way, and have you been out seeking the help of the Republican Party with the Chamber of Commerce, National Chamber of Commerce?
You know, it's funny, I get a kick out of, about a week and a half ago, the Boston Herald had a front page, GOP's abandoning Scott Brown. Now, Martha and the machine would like everyone to believe that everyone's coming out, every conservative talk show host, every conservative politician, to try to, and they're running my campaign. I can assure you that the people that are running my campaign are my 4th and 5th grade buddies from grammar school, the same team that I had. And I welcome everybody's support, because it's me against the machine that's revving up. They have MoveOn.org, SEIU just took a major buy, the most they've ever taken against a candidate. Potentially the president's coming out this weekend. So I'm going to need every single penny I can get to fight back against the negativity. The negative ads that Martha ran are shameful, they're not accurate, and I think people deserve better. She won't debate me, but she wants to run negative ads against me.
Would you welcome the support of someone like a Rush Limbaugh, who apparently has been asked to come out?
No one's been asked to come out on my behalf. This race isn't going to be won by outside people coming in. And this race is, and I've asked everyone to stay away. I've told them to take their ads down. Any ads that say authorized by Scott Brown are the only ads that I even know about. We have no control. Obviously, it's illegal to get involved in any outside interests coming in. But I asked all ads to be taken down. Leave me alone. Let Martha and I debate one-on-one. Let the people determine of Massachusetts what's best for the state. And Martha did not take that same pledge. She's welcoming the outside influences coming in and distorting my record and trying to buy this election. And then you take what's happening, and that's evidence, quite frankly, as to how she was down in Washington last night while I was out campaigning, put on 400 miles yesterday, taking lobbyists' money and hobnobbing with the bigwigs down there on the health care bill. So my question to the people who are listening is she working for the people of Massachusetts or for the special interests in Washington?
I know you said that you said you put 400 miles on the car yesterday. You said you've been going around to businesses all over the state. How many miles did you put on total?
Well, yesterday, the person who's driving me, they won't let me drive much anymore because I'm on the phone quite a bit. Yesterday we tallied, we were just a touch under 400 miles, and we have a full day planned. I leave the house at 5 o'clock, and I get home around 10, 11 every night. I'm getting about 4.5 hours of sleep.
Are you being driven in your truck? Or?
Sometimes the truck, and my daughter Ayla has the truck, and she's noted that the truck is more famous than she is now.
Do you think your daughter is a pit bull?
No. I heard about the paper, but I will say that when they saw the ads that Martha and her team have run, first of all, the fact that they didn't know how to spell Massachusetts, I thought was indicative of the fact that they had that wrong, and they also had, the distortions were outrageous to the point where my daughters were upset enough to say, "Daddy, we want to help," and I appreciate their effort.
What were the distortions? What were the inaccuracies?
Well, they're making it seem like I'm denying women contraceptive emergency care, which is outrageous. Not only did I vote for the bill, I actually overrode the governor to allow women who are raped to get the care that they need. To Jackie Hart and others, there were concerns about whether religious hospitals would be able to not provide that service. They have very strong religious beliefs. We brought it forth. It failed on a voice vote, but ultimately we took a roll call on the bill, and I in fact overrode the governor. So let me ask all of you and all your viewers, how is that not supporting women's rights to get the absolute care that they deserve? And as a man who lives in a house full of women, who has teenage daughters, God forbid, and a wife that could be subjected to that, I would drive them down there myself to get the appropriate care.
It's interesting that her campaign seems to be pushing about you right now, that you would go to Washington and be a lockstep vote with the National Party. How do you respond to that?
Well, as somebody who would be the 41st senator, that's inaccurate. I would have the ability to work across party lines as I've done here for many, many years. Her allegation that I vote 96% of the time with Republicans is inaccurate. If you're talking about voting with Senator Tassay as our leader, fighting against the tax and spend mentality of the Patrick administration, then I'm guilty as charged. But I'm proud of the fact that I've stood up against the out-of-control spending and taxation in Massachusetts pushed on us by the Patrick administration.
Scott, what do you think of the Tea Party movement and what they're trying to do?
I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. What are they trying to do?
The smaller government, anti-establishment sort of organization that's taken over the country.
Taken over the country? I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration.
Well, they're all over the place.
Well,
they're working on, they're trying to take down moderate Republicans.
All I know is that
I'm completely unaware of that.
I'm not quite sure what you're referring to, but let me just say that this is a big tent campaign. I have people who are Democrats, unenrolled independents, Republicans, young, old, liberal, conservative, moderate, involved in this campaign because people are looking past the letter behind my name, and they're looking at my 30 years of military service. They're looking at the fact that I've been a municipal and legislative leader with over 6,000 votes. And more importantly, they're looking at the stark differences between Martha and me on health care, on cap and trade, on the expiring tax cuts, on the war tax, on how we treat people who are trying to kill us, on the fact that Afghanistan has a very real and vital national interest. They're looking at those issues. And I welcome everybody's support because literally it's me against the machine.
So you've been called everything from conservative, moderate, and liberal Republican. Would you you want to set the record straight.
Yeah, I would. I'm a Scott Brown Republican, and I always have been. You know, Allison, you've covered me. I have always been independent, whether voting against Governor Romney in the stem cell bill, being the leader to try to restore MECO funds here in Massachusetts, being somebody who's always been straight up with all of you. Answer a question, don't duck it, and make sure that when I tell you an answer, it's accurate and it's factual and it's respectful.
President Obama said today he does want to tax the top financial firms, try and recoup some of the TARP money. What's your reaction to the president's move?
You know, I'm not familiar with his proposal. I'd certainly have to read it. Bottom line is taxing right now in the midst of a recession and doing stimulus bills and looking to drag on the economy more and more, I think is wrong at this point in time. As you know, I've called for an across-the-board tax cut for businesses and families. Companies like this, that we're in the second highest corporate tax rate in the world right now. Do you think that if you had a tax reduction and a payroll tax reduction, that you wouldn't have more juice here to hire new employees? Of course they would, and that's a direct quote. Of course they would. So we've tried bailouts, we've tried stimulus, we've tried all these other things, and we haven't created one new job. So wouldn't it be nice to maybe get back to basics and try something a little different and put more money in people's and businesses' pockets?
The proposed tax on medical devices in the healthcare bill in the Senate. What would you do to expand coverage that's not in the Senate bill?
Well, we already have 98% of our people insured here in Massachusetts, and you have to look and be a little bit parochial here. We've done it here. So we've done what the other parts of the country are trying to do. So we're going to, in fact, cut $500 billion for Medicare, cut medical TRICARE for veterans. We're going to have longer lines, lesser coverage, and have it cost over $1 trillion plus. And pursuant to Martha, she said in 10 years that'll be revenue neutral. Well, that's great. What a bargain that is. So we're going to basically be paying for our plan, and then we're going to be subsidizing Nebraska and Louisiana for the next 10 years in their Medicaid and other types of backroom dealings. So we're not only paying increased fees here in Massachusetts, in addition to all the taxes that Massachusetts is giving us, all the federal taxes that Massachusetts is giving us, the increase in taxes here, then we're going to be subsidizing paying here. Boy, that's a real bargain.
The bill creates a national exchange model on the Massachusetts model, and it also creates tax breaks for individuals, middle and low income individuals, and small businesses to purchase insurance on the exchange. That's very simple and basically the Massachusetts law.
Listen, there are
Would
a lot.
You support that concept?
There are a lot of very similar. They're looking at our model as to help, but you're talking about isolated parts. They're also cutting $500 billion of Medicare. They're also taxing plans like we have here, which are going to cost very large amounts of money. What I would propose is allowing the individual states to tailor their plans like we've done, have the federal government incentivize them, work with them as the federal government did with us, and one size does not need to fit all. One size does not fit all. Why do we need a federal plan that's the same for everybody and hurt businesses like this and union plans and people who have been negotiated in good faith? It makes no sense. We can do it better. We need to bring this bill back to the drawing board, and I've always been supportive of the fact that everybody should be entitled to some form of coverage. But to have the one-size-fits-all at the cost that it's doing and the lack of transparency, people have lost faith. You know it, you've heard about it, people have told you about it. We need the people in Washington to figure that out as well. In fact, bring it back to the drawing board, but in the middle of a recession, to basically put a tax on a company like this, they said outright, you can check with the CFO, that's their profit. That one act alone will cut their profit. Then you throw on what's happening with expiring tax cuts and then the potential cap and trade tax. You know, they're going to either relocate, they're going to have to lay people off, or they're going to have to increase their prices. There's no two ways about it.